There are a ton of legendary unique weapons in Fallout 4 that make up some of the best and most powerful weapons in the game. Starting with Adam's Judgment, a legendary super sledge and one of the more unique weapons in the game. It has 4 damaged fusion cores strapped to the end of it, allowing you to deal radiation damage on top of the massive amounts of physical damage that it does. Plus, you can upgrade it to allow not only energy damage, but the stun upgrade not just adds stun damage, but also has a pretty good chance to completely stun the enemy and knock them down.
Please, just kill me.
Obviously, melee perks help a lot with this, but you don't even need those. With melee and radiation damage builds or buffs, Adam's Judgment can pretty much one-shot anyone on very hard difficulty, but this weapon is still powerful as heck without a full-on melee build. And the radiation damage is not just good against humans, it is perfectly fine to use against any enemy in the game. You get Adam's Judgment by heading over to Far Harbor, over to the Nucleus, towards the center of the DLC map, where you can speak to Grand Zealot Richter, who will give you the Visions of the Fog quest. This allows you to join the Children of Adam. Everyone's kind of skeptical about joining these guys, but all you have to do is join them for like a few minutes, and then you can do whatever you want. Just complete that quest, which directly leads into the What Adam Requires quest, entailing you to enter the building, talk to their leader, and then allows Richter to once again task you out on a quest called the Heretic.
Adam smiles on you today, sister.
Great. So where do I cash in my Adam bucks exactly?
Completing the Heretic will reward you with Adam's Judgment, whether you solved that quest peacefully or not.
And show no mercy to the enemies of Adam.
Oh yeah, I totally forgot, all of the gameplay in this video is recorded on very hard difficulty or survival. Leave a comment down below what your favorite weapon is in the game, whether I mention it here or I don't, especially if you think it should have been in this video. The Deliverer pistol has got to be the best pistol in Fallout 4 for any type of stealth or VATS builds, or even just to use as a secondary to a sniper build. Plus, it's just cool. It's the James Bond pistol, the Walter PK, with that suppressor on it. And it's one of the actual only unique weapons that are actually unique. You cannot get it, or any pistol that looks like it, any other way. The Deliverer comes with the VATS Enhanced legendary effect, meaning you get a 33% increase to your hit chance in VATS, and it also costs 25% less action points to use in VATS. So all of these VATS buffs make it an absolute monster. Dude, you can stack so many shots per VATS meter onto an enemy, but you don't even really need VATS. It is a machine regardless. It's not the hardest hitting pistol in the game, but it's up there, as well as having an insane fire rate. To get the Deliverer, you first need to find the Railroad. You can find the Railroad through like the Freedom Trail quest, but you do not need it. You can head here straight after leaving the vault, go right over to the Railroad's hideout over at the Old North Church. Once inside, take an immediate right, head down all of the different hallways until you get to the puzzle where you just spell out Railroad.
So it starts with R.
By slowly turning each little knob clockwise and counterclockwise, one letter at a time. After speaking to the Railroad members that are there to greet you, you can speak to Deacon, who is one of them, and he will give you the Tradecraft quest, which is where we find the Deliverer. This quest has you like follow Deacon around, leading you on top of a bridge where you find like your informant guy, where you get the option to infiltrate this synth building. It's a decent length quest. It might take you about like 20 minutes or so, but towards the end of it, you will find Deacon's guy who he was trying to locate. And when you find him, you will find the pistol, which Deacon will mention, and you can pick it up or speak to Deacon about it, and he will hand you the Deliverer, the unique legendary silenced pistol.
You'll never find another weapon like
The most reliable weapon in Fallout 4 that you could stick to for any situation, and can even be obtained super early, is the Overseer's Guardian. It might not technically be the highest damage per shot rifle in the game, or the perfect sniper rifle, or melt through bosses and legendary enemies as quickly as a few other weapons, but it is close enough and is handy for long range, mid range, and even close range. You can toss a sniper scope on it, or keep the red dot sight on there, which is what I always do. Use it like a sniper, destroy enemies that are across the map, or right in your face. It doesn't really matter thanks to its 2-shot legendary effect. Typically with the 2-shot ability, it's not the best possible legendary effect that you can have if you want strictly a sniper, because the second shot is based solely off of its base damage, making it not deal as much damage as you might think, since it's not really accounting for your upgrades or attachments on that second shot, but it is perfect for a combat rifle, and you typically want to get some stealth shots in when possible for the extra damage, and then put to use what it does better than a sniper, which is the higher rate of fire, and that makes the 2-shot extra damage add up pretty dang quickly. If you head over to a workbench and throw on 308 rounds, even better, and I find that that is the perfect weapon for survival. You get Overseer's Guardian from Vault 81, found to the west of Diamond City. You can be allowed to enter Vault 81 by passing a hard difficulty speech check or by paying 3 fusion cores, and if you choose to pay 3 fusion cores, you can actually just drop them when the dialogue ends, go talk to the Overseer, and then pick them back up later.
I can take those fusion cores from you.
Of course, here they are.
Thank you. Greatly appreciate these. Now, I have work to do.
Now you saved 3 fusion cores and got into Vault 81 for free. If you head on down the vault, eventually off to our right, you'll find a shop who will sell you the Overseer's Guardian.
But I need your help here.
I might be interested in...
Great.
Some of the weapons in this list can be put in a different order just depending on your build. If you've got the right perks unlocked, you can easily make a lot of these the #1 best weapon in the game, kind of like the Throat Slicer. With the Beware the Knife King Scav magazine that surprisingly also applies to the Throat Slicer, the Pack Alpha perk from Nuka World, Ninja, Big Leagues, Bloody Mess, Blitz, Lone Wanderer, Rooted, all of those perks, plus the extra damage from Strength, Throat Slicer cuts anything into smithereens. It isn't just good because of its bleed effect, but because it has that and is incredibly quick to swing around, making that bleed effect extremely powerful. To get Throat Slicer, you will need the Nuka World DLC. I swear not every weapon in this video is DLC related, but Nuka World and Far Harbor just simply have a lot of the best weapons. It's pretty easy to get once you're in Nuka World by just heading to the Nuka World market and purchasing it at Caitlin's shop. It's that easy, there you go. If you upgrade it, obviously the Cutlass is the best blade you can have upgraded on it because of the bleed. The Serrated Hacking Blade gets rid of the bleed and instead allows you to cripple, but the Cutlass blade massively increases the damage while also allowing you to deal bleed damage. What the f— One of the best and most powerful legendary weapons in Fallout 4 is a Gatling laser, and maybe not the Gatling laser you think or even knew existed. Final Judgment, which comes with the rapid legendary effect, brings your fire rate up by 25%, plus a faster 15% buff to your reload speed. But the reason Final Judgment is so good isn't the legendary effect alone, but because that 25% adds to the effects of the other upgrades, the attachments that you put on it. So if you throw the Charging Barrel's barrel mod onto Final Judgment, which buffs the Gatling laser's damage by about 400%, but typically gives a negative 75% reduction to fire rate, that fire rate reduction actually turns into just a 50% fire rate reduction when Final Judgment's legendary effect is accounted for, while still getting the extra 4 times extra damage. Your damage is quadrupled, making it not just the best heavy weapon in the game, but you could probably argue for it being the best weapon in Fallout 4, period. Plus, we can still attach the Beam Focuser muzzle upgrade and a receiver. The Boosted Photon Agitator doubles our crit damage, also gives us about a 20% damage boost, and makes it more accurate, and the Overcharged Capacitor gives you a straight 75% damage boost. Either one of those is good. The other cool thing about this weapon is that it's made unique by the fact that you cannot get this legendary effect to spawn on a Gatling laser in any other way. The Final Judgment is the only legendary laser Gatling that has the rapid legendary effect. The biggest and really only downside to Final Judgment is how it's acquired. This is Elder Maxon's unique weapon, but to get it off of him, you can't just take him out whenever you want and loot it off of his corpse. He has to bring it into combat, and he only does that a total of 3 different times, and it is easily missable. For both of those situations to appear, you have to be basically at the end of the game. These are pretty close to the final quest of the main story, and only if you sided with either the Institute or the Railroad, in which case he'll appear during the Airship Down, the Institute main quest toward the end of the game, or for the Railroad, the Rocket's Red Glare. Those are the only 2 situations and quests where he will not only spawn ready for battle, but the only time he'll bring Final Judgment out, and he has to bring it out in order for you to grab it. So still over in Far Harbor, if you come over towards the Echo Lake Lumber, near the western coastline here, you'll find this abandoned building, the little lumber yard building. There'll be a bunch of ghouls here. and a couple legendary ones. But if you come to the door, you can unlock this door with a lockpick to get in here. Otherwise, you can go around and hop up here, or use a little ramp here to get on up. But if you just head on upstairs towards the attic, at the other side of the attic, you'll find a chest, and inside of the chest is the Harvester. The Harvester is a unique legendary ripper, one of the cooler looking weapons in the game, I think, especially from the unique weapons, and it has the legendary effect to stagger on hit. And since it's a ripper, it is constantly hitting. The Ripper by itself is basically an automatic melee weapon, except now it's just constantly staggering. It's possibly the most broken weapon in the game. And what's crazy is if you upgrade it, you can not only get the curved blade, which has a chance to disarm and does more damage, but the extended blade does even more damage than that and allows bleeding damage. It is freaking insane, dude. The only downside to it really is that you have to get fairly close to use it since it's a shorter range melee weapon, and it's not going to hit multiple enemies at once unless you're switching your aim back and forth between both of them, but it's fine. If you just quickly keep looking back and forth, they can't really do anything. Kiloton is a lot like Spray and Pray, except it deals rad damage on top of that. You can go fully automatic or semi to have an explosive rifle and even put a silencer on it. It's an absurd weapon. The radiation damage here, unlike Adam's Judgment, does not apply radiation damage, but radiation sickness, meaning it works best on humans to reduce their overall max health, but the explosive and ballistic damage make it not even really matter who you shoot. Even with its base stats on very hard against difficult enemies, it doesn't really matter how strong that guy is if the explosive rounds cripple all of their limbs. You can grab the Kiloton Radium Rifle pretty much the same way we obtained Adam's Judgment, except you can actually grab Kiloton a bit earlier than that. All you have to do is head up to the nucleus of Far Harbor's map, the Children of Adam's location, and if you haven't joined them, do that by speaking to Richter, who should be waiting right out front, and then you'll have access to the inside of the nucleus where you can purchase Kiloton from. Just head up to the upper floor shop area in the back and speak to Kane, who will sell it to you. Voila! The legendary Kiloton Radium Rifle. Next up, we have the Problem Solver, a unique legendary handmade rifle. You could probably argue for this to be the #1 best weapon in the game. It just really depends on what kind of build you're going for. But if you're going for a commando build, anything to do with rifles or automatic weapons, in that case, the Problem Solver is probably the best weapon in the game for you. With each consecutive shot that you hit, your damage is increased by 15%. So after 4 more consecutive hits, your damage is up by 60%, which is nuts. What's crazy is that this effect does not cancel out or reset after missing shots. It only resets after about 10 seconds of not shooting the enemy or shooting a different enemy. And each shot is powering up the next round in the chamber, so when you switch to a different enemy, that first shot should still be buffed up. You can find the Problem Solver in the Nuka World DLC. Once you get to Nuka World, you will be like taken up top and given like the rundown on all the gangs, and he's like, hey, go talk to all of them, and gives you the quest called An Ambitious Plan. You can't miss this quest, it's part of the main story in Nuka World. When you're given this quest, you'll be given the objective to meet the gang boss for the pack. The pack's hideout is like Brad Burton Amphitheater, just to the west of the Nuka Town market here. But go into the Brad Burton Amphitheater, this is where you can find Michael Vick's hideout. But off at the end, you'll find Mason, the leader of the pack. This is the most important part to not get wrong if you want Problem Solver, because only one of these options really gives you it. You can ask him a question, which is always the top option, but the aggressive one is on the right, and that's what you want to keep on pressing. Every time he has a dialogue option while you're having a conversation with this package here, don't pick sarcastic and don't pick this one, we're in together. Keep on clicking the right, do what I tell you. On the third dialogue option, if you want to try for the speech check on the option up top, you can click that one, because then it gives you another chance to pick the dialogue, which we're going to pick the one on the right again. Quit whining. The fifth dialogue option, once again, you can click the speech check if you want. I'm probably failing it. Okay, don't plot against me. This is the most important one right here because the option we need to press is a speech check. So in order to get the Problem Solver, it's locked behind this speech check.
Be a good dog, Dad.
Ooh there, boss.
But there you go, you get the Problem Solver, the legendary assault rifle, like AK-47 looking weapon, and this thing just goes crazy. If you can't get access to the Problem Solver because you didn't pick the right dialogue options or couldn't pass the speech check and you didn't feel like reloading, you can actually get the same weapon, or like its slightly better variant, the Splatter Cannon, from right next door to where we got the Problem Solver. Still in Nuka Town, USA, just head right across the street to Nuka Town Market. After you leave the pack's hideout, it is like literally right in front of you. Once you're there, find Aaron, who is right to our left if you came in through that door. He's the guy that like gives you lip for being the new overseer here. And this is where you can find the Splatter splatter cannon. For me right here, it costs like 10,000 caps. I think if you don't have any charisma, it can cost up to 12,000, but get as low as like 8. It is pretty much the same as the splatter cannon, except it comes decked out in attachments. You have the sniper scope, the powerful automatic receiver, the shovel stock, and quick eject drum mag, which lets you shoot 75 freaking shots per magazine with an insanely fast reload speed, plus a suppressor. All of these being really late game attachments that require late game perks and parts to craft. This thing just comes crazy straight out the gate. So if you couldn't get the problem solver, it's not the end of the world. You still have the splatter cannon, which is pretty much the same weapon. Pretty much the best enemies you want to use these on are bosses and legendary enemies, and anyone who has a large amount of health, since the longer you shoot them, the more damage you're dealing out of it. The only thing is that with the problem solver, you're going to have to actually be these levels to get the attachments that the splatter cannon has, as well as like have the parts that you need in order to create them. What I think is the best weapon in the game, most powerful weapon that you can get in Fallout 4, is a legendary Gauss rifle. And the unique variant, the last minute, is really freaking strong, giving you an extra 50% to limb damage through its legendary effect, the crippling legendary effect, which is really helpful for anything, but especially when you want to stagger an enemy, since depleting their health on one of their limbs or any body part will stagger them. It shreds through power armor, and tossing a suppressor on this just makes it the best sniper rifle in the game. If you have any type of rifle build, a legendary Gauss rifle just absolutely shreds, and you will almost always one-shot pretty much anyone, assuming you have a lot of the suppressor perks and rifle perks, plus the stealth perks, obviously. But even if you don't, it is still insanely powerful. To get the last minute, you need to do a few different quests for the Minutemen, Preston Garvey. If you somehow don't know who this guy is, he's found in Concord, near the start, by just following the main quest, right when you get out of the vault. He's the guy who you swear has to be a synth, but somehow isn't. Once you have him, you just need to recruit 4 different settlements.
Our scouts have found a promising spot for a new settlement.
After that, you can return to Preston Garvey and he will give you the Taking Independence quest. This involves you like taking the castle and defeating some Mirelurks. After completing that, you can just wait 2 to 3 in-game days, fast travel somewhere else and back, or then a character named Ronnie Shaw will appear there at the castle.
Now that I'm here, I can see you really need my help.
Speaking to her will give you the Old Guns quest. Again, if she's not popping up, just try to fast travel somewhere, maybe do a quest. That's what I did because she was not popping up for me for this playthrough. But once Old Guns is completed, Ronnie Shaw will set up shop there at the castle, right in like that corner area that you opened up with her, and that's who you can use to purchase the last minute from, your unique legendary Gauss rifle, possibly the #1 hardest hitting weapon in the game.
Find him. Should've run.
But yeah, that is it. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe for more Fallout 4 videos, as well as like any Fallout game. See ya.